Hey, what's up? My name is Stella V and I'm your Starseed Priestess here at Light of She, bringing you your Astro Weather review for this past weekend and your Astro Weather from Monday to Wednesday, okay? Yes, so you don't have to wait until the next day in order to receive the Astro Weather. You can just come on this video and take a look for yourself and get prepared for what's coming. Now, let's go ahead and dive into what happened this weekend, because we did have some pretty strong transitions happening as Neptune went retrograde and the full moon in Capricorn began. So let's dive into it. So on Saturday, we had the moon in Sagittarius, we had the sun in Cancer, and we had Neptune going retrograde at the end of Saturday night. Now, Neptune going retrograde is going to be bringing forth a lot of clarity for everyone, okay? A lot of, lifting of certain burdens and the ability to see through a lot of things that you were unable to see through before. Okay, so take advantage of this newfound clarity and do the right things with this newfound clarity, right? Now, if you are curious to know how Neptune is going to be impacting, or Neptune going retrograde will be impacting your life, I would definitely say check out where Neptune is on your chart, first of all, right? What zodiac sign is Neptune in, what house is Neptune in, what degree is Neptune at. That's going to matter for you, right? And also double check your 12th house, right? So your 12th house is also going to tell you quite a few things, because Neptune is the ruler of the 12th house. And so you may experience some impact in that area as well, depending on what house it's in. Now, there was a transit this Saturday that was impacting us, which was the moon trining Venus. The moon was in Sagittarius, Venus we know is in Leo, so it was a very fiery and very feisty energy. If you were in partnerships where there are double fires in the connection, you probably had a rough time getting along, or you probably had some immense passionate moments on Saturday. And that's okay. I love it. I'm here for that. Now, the other side to this energy is having the moon trining Venus. We have this strange obsession with afterlife, strange obsession with pretty much death. I know that sounds really weird, but there is this obsession with rebirth and recreation when it comes to the moon trining Venus. Now, for whatever reason, for some of you, especially the Sagittarius, I would say that there is a grieving process that is happening here for Sagittarius. There could have been a moment on Saturday where you were kind of missing something very deeply, kind of hoping and wishing for something different, or wishing that something was different, Sagittarius. And, things have gotten a little bit rough for you, but I am going to say that things are definitely going to be looking up. We'll know more when we pull your cards later, but that moon trine Venus is also about learning polarities among, not just among yourselves, but among the people around you as well, right? Learning how to maintain balance and order among everybody around you. So if you were feeling a little bit of a push and pull on Saturday or even this weekend, definitely that's what you were feeling. And the energies, that push and pull and that need and search for balance and polarity actually increases, okay, as the days progress in the weekend and as the days go into the weekday. Okay, so let me see what else. And then I would have to say on Sunday we had the moon squaring Neptune, and this moon squaring Neptune can sometimes make you feel as though your vulnerabilities are up for display. You may feel as though somebody's putting your business up for display. You may feel as though there's a lot of exposure about the things that make you uncomfortable, and these are personal things, okay, because it's the moon, so it's very personal. But there is a lot of support from all of the other transits for you to take ownership of your authenticity and own the parts of you that you're not necessarily too proud of, right? And it's easier said than done. Loving yourself when you don't feel your best is way easier said than done. And if you haven't had to do that, then bravo to you. But it is not easy, okay? It is definitely not easy. So if you had to do that, you know, even if you did a little bit of that, kudos to you. We're here, we're making it step by step, okay? Step by step. All right, so you're going to be feeling a little bit of an energy lift. We're going to talk a little bit more about that Neptune retrograde, okay, in a separate video. I have prepared something for the Neptune retrograde and for the Saturn retrograde as well, as promised. But the last thing I want to say about this weekend's energy and what happened on Sunday. So, you know, there was also this energy where it was almost as if communication wasn't flowing too easily among, you know, you and other people. And so there was a need for you to be very clear and very concise about how you spoke this weekend in order to avoid misunderstandings. And you probably ran into the situation where, you know, because you didn't say things all the way through, or because you were just expecting someone to know what you were feeling or what you were thinking, you know, situations came about, and that is that moon squaring Neptune. Okay, so we can recap. Neptune went retrograde. All right, we were gearing up and preparing for the full moon in Capricorn, which has happened Monday, which is today, and we have the moon squaring Neptune. All right, so super strong transits, I would say, in order to prepare you for the full moon in Capricorn and prepare you for the Venus retrograde that is coming up soon. So let's talk about that. We're going to start diving into Monday through Wednesday Astro Weather. See you soon. So come Monday, we have the sun in Cancer and the moon in Capricorn. It is a full moon. It is a super moon. Okay, it is beautiful in the sky. If you haven't had a chance to see it, make sure you check it out. Super cool. It was already looking really big yesterday, so I can't imagine what it's going to look like today. This energy has been ramping up. The energy of polarities, the energy of duality, the energy of having to utilize your most emotional self and your most logical self, right? And put them both to work and find a happy medium between them. Again, if you were among groups of people this weekend, you probably felt the energy, you probably felt the push and pull, you probably felt the, you know, exertion of alphas or, you know, or you've probably witnessed, you know, the dynamics and power dynamics among others, right? Because sometimes squares to Neptune can really bring out those power dynamics, and squares to Pluto, which we also have those as well, right? So rant over. So come Monday, we have the sun in Cancer at 11 degrees. We have the moon in Capricorn at 12 degrees. And this can feel as though I would call it like the glitch in the Matrix. Because this can feel as though you're like waking up and you're feeling like something's happening again, and you don't understand why something's happening again, right? There's like a repetition of something, and you're like, what is going on? Like, I learned this lesson before, like I did the same exact thing before. Why is this repeating itself again? And it almost feels like comical, right? Because you see the lesson in it. You see and understand what's going on and what went wrong, and you're just annoyed by it at this point. You're not happy about what's going on. And so, yeah, glitches in the Matrix, okay? Glitches in the Matrix. I was about to go off on a rant like that, and I had to reel it back in, because that's part of my full moon in Capricorn video. And I can't give it to you twice, all right? So, we have that full moon in Capricorn. We are being shown at this moment the places where dysfunction lives within ourselves, right? for me, my greatest dysfunctions are distractions. Getting distracted is my greatest dysfunction. You know, among other things. But yes, getting to know the parts of you where you are storing dysfunction, where you are choosing, you know, to stay in comfort zones. I feel as though for the rest of this weekend, while this full moon energy is in place, the more you go against the grain, the harder it's going to feel. It's going to feel like twice as difficult because you're pushing against the current that it's kind of like the wrong current. Don't push against this current. You don't have to push against this current, all right? You can allow yourself to flow here. You don't need to push against this current. This is not it. Don't catch this wave. Chill out, you know, let creativity flow as it should. Surrender to the inevitable, right? What is supposed to happen is going to happen. And so I would say the other side to this is don't take responsibility for the lack of duality in someone else. Okay. And that's only for the next couple of days while we have that sun in Cancer and that moon in Capricorn. I would say don't take other people's dualities. Don't be responsible for other people's lack of duality, right? So if they're imbalanced, if they're lacking some kind of ability to either be logical or be emotional, you know, don't continue feeding the energy that it's your job to bring that into regulation again, that it's your job to help harmonize or maintain some sort of balance. It's not. Okay? Your only job is to focus on you and your regulation and your balance, right? So just remember that as you go through. The other thing that I'm going to say here is be mindful of the ways in which you are exploiting yourself. Because there are consequences to this. Remember, Saturn is also going retrograde, watching how you treat yourself, you know, seeing what type of karma needs to be in place. All right. So just be mindful of the ways in which you are exploiting yourself and how you're treating yourself, because your body's going to be feeling it. Okay. And this is summertime. Y'all don't want to put yourselves in that position where you know, get your body all tired and then you're burnt out for the summer. That's whack. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. So the last transit for Monday that we're going to discuss is the moon opposing Mercury. Now, this moon opposing Mercury, it can feel a little bit as though, and it's both happening in Cancer, right? So very deep emotional energy. Some of you are going to be drowning in trying to explain how you feel. Some of you may feel like you're drowning and you may feel as though you can't really talk to anyone. There's this inability to express how you truly feel, and I think so much of it is because there's so much emotion behind it, right? It's almost like the pressure of an ocean pushing up against the door, and it's like you're afraid that if you open up the door, the floodgates are coming, right? And maybe they need to. Maybe you need to. Maybe you need to. What good does it do staying here, right? What good does it do if you know that all that pressure continues to push the door? Eventually the door's just gonna fall over. The whole thing's just going to fall over, right? So why not just allow that door to open, allow the floodgates to flow, and see where you are at after that emotionally. See how you feel. See what happens. I don't think anything big will happen, but I think for sure you'll, at the very least, have a release. At the very least, you will have, you know, regulated certain emotions within yourself, made sense of certain things within yourself. So definitely something to assess, definitely something to look at. That was not in my notes, so I don't know why all of that came out. I'm just saying whoever I'm talking to. All right, so come Tuesday, we have the moon at 27 degrees of Capricorn, conjunct Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn at 27 degrees right now. So this energy is you being obsessive with a certain thought or a certain thought process. You know, tomorrow you may feel as though you can't come off of a certain idea, you can't come off of a certain project, you can't come off of a certain route or a certain way of thinking. It's like you're almost having tunnel vision tomorrow. And then there's something here also with this transit about learning how to stand by your side in the moments when you don't really like yourself. And I know that sounds really strange, right? It's how do you stand by your side? But it's choosing yourself. It's respecting the decisions that you made despite how they might have turned out, right? No longer mistreating yourself based on decisions that you've made, right? Or talking to yourself a certain way based on decisions that you made. It's very easy for you to not choose yourself in a moment when nobody else is choosing you, right? It's very easy to set yourself aside. And this is what I meant when I said beware of the escapism and the things that you're using to escape. Because it's very easy to get lost in that pattern and put yourself aside because everybody else, you feel as though everybody else is pushing you aside. That's that Neptune energy, right? But I would say that there's very powerful transformative thoughts happening right now. And for some of you, it's going to feel as though, almost as though it's like burning a hole through your head. For some of you, it's almost as though you are resisting or you are struggling so bad with whatever this transformation is. And it's like you could taste it. It's so close. It's right there. But there's this energy that keeps lingering in the background that's almost like still making you feel bad for the situation that you've put yourself in, or still making you feel bad for whatever choice was originally made. And so there's an energy here of you know, standing by those choices, standing by your side. Is stand on it season, right? You made the decision that you did. Now all these planets go retrograde. This is the review. It's stand on it season. Okay. So there's an element here of you feeling very grounded in the decision that you made, and not backing down and not turning away and not even looking back for a second, right? Moon conjunct Pluto. Okay, and then the last one for Tuesday is Neptune sextiling Pluto. Again, Neptune is going retrograde. It's at 27 degrees of Pluto, of Neptune, I believe. What did I say? No, it's start that one over. The last transit that is impacting us on Tuesday is the Neptune sextiling Pluto. Both of these planets are going retrograde. So there is a transformative energy here when it comes to creation. Some of you may be completely switching up how you communicate your creative abilities and how you communicate the art that you are creating and manifesting, right? How do you share it with the world? There's a transformation in that. There's a big change in how you're putting yourself out there. And I love that. I love that energy. There's also a transformation here with regards to a certain belief system or a certain perspective that you had changes because of the people that you've started to surround yourself with, these new conversations that you're starting to have. There is some kind of change in perspective. There is some kind of change in belief. Something that you believed to be true before is no longer true to you, or now you've seen with a tainted glass. Now you can no longer see it for what you thought it was. There's a new version of that because you received new information. So that Neptune sextiling Pluto could happen really subtly. I would say pay attention, but Pluto, to be honest, is pretty loud, even though it's the smallest planet, right? It's pretty loud, and when it does things, it's usually with a bang and it's unforgettable. So definitely pay attention. Those of you who are creatives and artists, it could be very likely that something that you create from the heart space goes really big or gets really successful with this transit. So don't be shy. Definitely open up, be vulnerable, all right, and fall into those spaces with your audience, and I think you're gonna get a really good response. Let's move on to Wednesday. By Wednesday, we have the moon in Aquarius, we have the sun in Cancer. Okay, that sun is at 13 degrees of Cancer, and that moon is at 16 degrees of Aquarius. Now, that moon at 60 degrees of Aquarius is going to make us feel like technologically advanced, okay? You're going to feel as though you can do anything. All right, there's this energy of like, I know it. I know, you know, Aquariuses have this God complex. I'm kidding, y'all. No, I'm not kidding. I'm serious. But you know, Aquarius just like, they have this confidence. They just walk around with this confidence of like, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I knew this, you know. And it's very like, that's that energy that's being embodied on Wednesday. There is this energy of Mercury sextiling Uranus. Remember, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, right? Mercury is also a air planet, right? Mutable planet. It's correlated to Gemini. So there is something here, and this energy is going to be in place from Wednesday to Sunday. But there is something here with your inner soul being on display. You are getting a glimpse of what it's like to feel safe in a certain vulnerable space, to feel as though you can allow yourself to grow in this space. You can allow yourself to expand in this space. You're getting a tiny little taste, like your toes in the water, okay? Just to see the temperature of that water. Now, for some of you, this may feel too raw, and you may have the tendency to want to be avoidant, to want to be detached, to not want to show emotion, to not want to express yourselves. Aquarius says especially, okay, but I would also say Scorpios may also feel this way. But for sure, those of you who are a little bit more comfortable in the realms of emotions, those of you who are a little bit more comfortable with expressing them, it's going to feel very comforting for you. It's going to feel as though something is liberated from you. You can finally release this. You can finally bring this out to light. You can finally do it in a creative way too, because it's Aquarius, right? You can do this with confidence. You can do this feeling as though you got this, as though nothing could go wrong, right? Now that Mercury is at 19 degrees of Cancer, Uranus is at 21 degrees of Taurus, and so there's an energy here of you wanting to be both sociable but also introverted, right? You want to go out, you want to socialize, but also you don't want to do any of those things. You don't really want to put forth the effort. So even though there's a lot of desires to do things, there's almost like a lack of effort on Wednesday. And I see you pushing through both of those energies throughout the day. I see you kind of battling those energies. Some of you will decide to give in to one or the other, but most of you will be kind of going back and forth on Wednesday with these energies, because we are dealing with the energies of polarity, right? So the other thing here is this moon at 19 degrees of Aquarius, 16 degrees of Aquarius, it puts you in the position where you have to learn new things. Now, for some of you, the lesson here is that you have to allow yourself to be taught, especially because we have the Chiron squaring the sun. Especially because we have Chiron squaring the sun. Okay, we know Chiron is at 19 degrees of Aries, and it's squaring the sun at 13 degrees of Cancer. And this is about this is understanding that there is more than one right way to do something, okay? And your way is not the only way to do something. It's understanding that people could be correct in numerous ways, okay? Oh my goodness. This is too funny. I wrote this over earlier, and now like that I'm saying it aloud, I'm finally starting to see like ooh, okay. This Chiron squaring the sun energy is also the energy of you resisting to be taught, because whatever you're being taught goes against something that you believe in, right? Whatever you're being taught requires some kind of expansion of the mind, even some kind of physical expansion for you. And so there is a resistance of wanting to take in or absorb whatever information or whatever situation that is, right? For some of you, you will find yourselves wanting to sleep a lot. Cancers, you will be sleeping more than anything, or you will be extremely groggy and tired. That is because of the push and pull, because of the polarity, okay? For others of you on Wednesday, you may have some of your plans change. There may be some changes to your routines. And then lastly, again, artists, I cannot stress this enough, between Tuesday and Sunday, work and put your art out there and create and make time for creation, because this is an important time for you to get all of those creations out there. But that is your astro weather for the week, I guess. No, that's your astro weekend weather review and your astro weather for Monday to Wednesday. And now we're gonna move into our zodiac sign readings. And yeah, I'll see you soon.